So yeah, my hopium turned into copium, and at this point, it's straight up despair. Hey, what's going on guys, Ace here, and today we are going to do something different, where I am actually going to bash Blue Lock. I don't really mean the series in itself, I still really enjoy Blue Lock. I mean the manga right now is on fire, however season 2 of the anime is a straight up disaster. And it's really double infuriating because this season has the most critical game for the show, the U20 game. I don't think this is the best arc, however I truly believe this is the best game, or at least it is the game with the most hype and the most stakes. And truly, to see it handled this badly, it's just painful, man. And it's mind-boggling to me sometimes that we didn't even get the quality of season 1. Sure, the art style improved, but the animation is just a disaster. And man, don't get me started on the pacing of some of these episodes. Honestly, I'm just disappointed and really sad. However, and to be honest, both feelings are overshadowed by this unyielding rage towards the studio and towards their greed. It doesn't take a genius to tell that I am a truly fan of this series. I mean, I've been covering every episode on this channel in depth and compare it to the manga. And despite the bad production, I always kept a positive attitude towards the season. I always said that the third selection doesn't really matter that much, and they just need to focus their resources on the U20 game. And honestly, it kinda looked that way. It really felt that the third selection was rushed so they can get it over with and jump into the U20 game. However, after that disastrous trailer for the game, I don't know what to tell you guys. Now, before we talk about it in the U20 game, let's first recap what happened in the third selection. And I don't mean what actually happened in the story, but rather production-wise. The first episode actually looked great. The new art style rocked, the pacing was right, and even the moving parts had fluid animations like Ren and Shido fight. However, we can't really judge the first episode because it had no football in it. What comes next is the true challenge, and they fumbled it completely. Episode 2 is probably the worst anime episode I ever watched, and it says a lot because I'm a very picky watcher. The problem with episode 2 is that it really was for no one. If you think about it, it had no animation. They used a lot of PNGs, they fumbled the pacing completely, especially with Shiro and Otoya, and then of course, what the hell is even this? Then came episode 3, and actually it had a lot of improvement compared to the second episode. First, they actually used moving CGI this time, which honestly made it even weirder to think about episode 2. They used stiff CGI. Yes, you heard it right. They didn't even animate the bad CGI. Like, what was the point of CGI then? However, even though I seem to be complimenting episode 3, it wasn't great by any means. I think it was good enough. Like, the high points of the episode was Isagi activating this new power, and while it kinda looked right, it wasn't to the point of making me go wow. However, the lows of the episode were really horrible. Like, look at this, they used the PNG for the ball. What the hell is even this? As if using PNG for the players wasn't enough, they even used it for the ball. Then came episode 4, and guess what? It actually improved a lot compared to episode 3 as well. And at this point I was noticing a pattern. Each episode is actually better than the previous by some mileage, which definitely really gave me hope at that point. I mean, for one, the pacing of episode 4 was actually better than the manga. Some of the scenes with Ryo's past and Yukimiya looked really clean, and also the whole funny scene with Igagori was much better in the anime, and I really got hyped. I was thinking to myself, this means that the U20 arc will be great. Well, enter episode 5. Now, episode 5 isn't bad by any means, but it really got me scratching my hair, and this is where my hopium turned into copium. Because first, the pacing was all over the place. It wasn't downright bad or they butchered it, but at the same time, it really got me questioning some of the transitions they made. I mean, in one scene we are watching Ego talk about Sai and Shido, then all of a sudden we are seeing these players look at Sai, and it really felt rushed, like we are meant to understand that these are the U20 players. However, they didn't bother to give us a transition, or even do the hallway scene, which is an anime hallmark. And this is where I felt something was wrong about this production, and I'll be getting into it in a minute. First, I gotta say, this episode wasn't all bad. I mean, Ego's explanation of flow was really amazing, and Sai choosing Shido actually gave me goosebumps. However, these are the highs of the episode. The lows of the episode really shook me, like the whole scene of Shido and Sendo fighting and then Aiko stepping up and beating Shido was so mishandled that it actually gave me sore eyes. Like the choppy animations, the art style of Aiko which made him look so weird. Why are his eyelashes this long? And finally, the whole vibe, it wasn't there. In the manga, this scene served to introduce the defenders. These are the wall for the Blue Lockers to overcome. However, due to the whole bad production, I didn't feel anything. And here it actually hit me. The production for this season seems without a soul. And actually this explains everything. They seem to have a checklist of things to do, and they reach them regardless of the quality or thinking if the fan would like them. And here I called it. The whole problem with this whole season is that it feels soulless. The reason season 1 looked that good, or at least part 1, because you can feel the studio pouring its soul into this show. However, here they actually seem like they don't even care about it. And this is the reason why I didn't do a review of that episode. I wanted to get this video out. However, I stopped because I really wanted to give the studio the benefit of the doubt and actually watch the first episode of the U20 game to judge it for myself. To my happiness, the episode actually felt much better than the previous episodes. I mean, I know we've seen the trailer before the episode, and we know what disasters awaits us. However, I want to talk about this episode alone first. You see, the whole first part, up until the start of the game, was anime exclusive, with the exception of the scene of Aiko talking to Sai. And actually, this was the highlight of the episode. This really brought the experience to life. And I mean, it's to be expected because this studio excels in slice of life anime, and here the adaptation was amazing. We got a lot of anime exclusive scenes of people getting into the stadium, of people reacting to Blue Lock, and overall the whole thing with Aiko's backstory, which by the way doesn't happen at this point yet. And to be honest, I was really enjoying it, and the choice for the OST was perfect, literally perfect. It felt heartwarming, and at the same time it felt intense, as if this is the best part of Blue Lock, but also this is the most critical. Come the start of the game, things looked amazing. I mean, the characters are moving for once, unlike episode 5. However, then the scene of Rin slapping Isagi, it was PNG again. Like, look at this. This is 2 PNGs sliding, and honestly this kinda made me anxious. However, the studio then surprised me completely. They left out this scene of Bachra destroying this random player from the U20 game out of the trailer. And honestly, why did they do that? This is the best animated scene in the whole series, like maybe only overshadowed by Chigiri in episode 2. And even though they used CGI, it still looked amazing, especially with the crowd reacting to Bachra. And then the studio pulled off one of his stupid moves and gave us this PNG slideshow again. Isagi here did something amazing because he is the only player that escaped the defense of the U20 team, and to see it handled this badly is just infuriating, man. As I said, the production feels soulless, like they are not understanding what this show is about. Sure, Batra's dribbling was amazing. However, when it comes to significance to the show, it really doesn't compare to Isagi breaking the defense here, and this really infuriated me, as I said. Now, for how bad this scene actually was, the next was rather okay. I actually think they did a good job with Aiko stopping him. First, the snake thing was amazing. I mean, it's 3D so it's easier to animate, but I overall loved it. And Aiko's hair was animated in the air, so that's a plus. However, I still felt that it was missing some movements, especially with Isagi and this defender. They both looked so stiff, and I didn't like it. Going back to other sports anime, they always had the clothes and hair move in scenes like this. Or in the case of Kuroko, they straight up had slow motion animations, which I understand they are very costly to make, but come on, at least try something, at least care, damn it. That's the problem, they don't care. This production feels so soulless. However, enough about episode 6. Let's talk about the biggest disappointments about this show. Okay guys, whatever hope I had before, whatever little bit of copium I had in my heart that I conjured in order to continue watching this show got completely stomped over by this stupid trailer. I mean, what the hell is even this? Seriously, what is Darai doing here? Why is Sendo so stiff? Why is Sai's introduction looks like this? Why isn't he moving? Like, what is this? And mind you, this is not a problem or an opinion of the English speaking community. If you see the comment section under the teaser, Japanese fans have blasted this shit, saying things like it is just images dragged throughout the screen, or the manga has more movements than this, which is double funny and hurts at the same time, and they are actually correct. What is the point of the anime if it has no movement? I mean, the word anime stands for animation, so what are we doing here? And here's the thing, I understand that the U20 game might have okayish episodes. I think they are going to do an okay job. However, this is Blue Lock. This was the best-selling manga in 2023. This show, for God's sake, beat Jujutsu Kaisen, it beat Demon Slayer, hell, it even beat One Piece. So you can understand my frustration with this. This is the only sports anime that deserves animation on the caliber of Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, or One Piece. Okay, maybe not to that extent, but at least you gotta give us an insane animation. It's a sports anime, for God's sake. It has more movements than fighting anime. Like seriously, what's the point of doing an anime adaptation to Blue Lock if you are going to butcher it this much? Well, there is actually a reason, a big one that is, which is greed, and that's the ugly reality of it. The studio just wanted to make a quick buck while minimizing the costs. They just wanted an easy money grab. That's all there is to it. And this comes as a double slap to the face because they did this with the best part about the show. They didn't do this with some random matches that have no great significance. They did it for the game that had the most hype and the biggest stakes in this show. And honestly, this kinda confirms the fact that they wanted just a quick money grab. Because they know Blue Lock is established and has a lot of fans, they would watch it either way. And so what they ended up doing is just stabbing us in the back with this sorry excuse of a production for this awful season. Speaking of which, and speaking of the ugly reality of this season, we gotta talk about the animator who came forward and completely exposed the studio for their greed. And honestly, this got me even more depressed, because he says that he started working on the first 5 episodes months prior to their release, and at that point there were no issues. However, he was surprised, especially in episode 2, of how many scenes of his animations were cut out, and they didn't give him an explanation, nor did they even notify him about this. And when he asked about it, he was told that many scenes that had actually been animated and had actual movements were taken out due to these animations taking too long for the time that was allocated to the scenes, which to me immediately signals poor judgment and coordination from the production committee. And actually, this was not surprising to anyone, because as you all know, 2 directors that were supposed to work on this season actually quit, and one of which was actually the one who directed season 1, and so he couldn't take it. And also the guy that came after him quit by the time episode 2 aired, which honestly hurts so bad, man, to see your favorite show, to see your favorite story being butchered like this. And I actually kept thinking about what the animator said. He said that the animations would take too much for the time they allocated to the season, which to me begs the question, why 14 episodes then? Now, if you watch anime regularly, you would know that seasonal anime ends around the 12th, 13th episode mark, and sometimes they extend it to the 24th and 25th episode. And this is pretty common due to money reasons. I mean, it's a bit complicated, but it boils down to better control over the quality of the show. This way they minimize risks while maximizing profit. And this leads me to ask the question, why the season has 14 episodes? Why is it the exception? To me, it feels as if they wanted to cram the third selection and the U20 game into 13 episodes. However, due to how much content they have, they couldn't, and so they ended up needing extra episodes. However, they did not want to risk it and actually added up just 1. Instead, they sacrificed the pacing and the quality of the show. And honestly, this kinda is in line with what the animator has said, because otherwise, if they kept the animations and they've done right by the pacing, would have ended up with like 16 to 17, maybe 18 episodes, which to me was fine. They just wanted a show that would give them money. It's just sad and really painful to see that greed yet again destroyed another beloved franchise. And honestly, I really can't forgive them for this. And also, if you think about it, this seems dumb. As any greedy person, they are usually dumb, because honestly, this is just a short-term gain. I mean, sure, they might grab a little bit of money here. However, they miss out on one of the best shows ever. If they destroy the season of Blue Lock, they destroy prospects for 3 more seasons maybe. And I would definitely think if they done right by this one, they would gain a lot more money over time from those seasons. And also, to go back to the animator I spoke of earlier, he actually confirms my doubts here. He says that they took the projects with profit in mind, but they didn't care about the conditions for their workers nor the anime itself. Which, I don't know, as a business, I mean, I understand. I think they should care about profit. However, this should never come at the expense of quality. Because frankly, the quality of your product dictates the future of your company. And I can't believe that I have to say this out loud. And this is what gets my blood boiling about this season. They minimized expenses and made a quick buck, but they lost all credibility in the process. I mean, at this point, who would even trust this studio? Who would trust them with any work that is beyond slice of life anime? I think they really shot themselves in the foot here, especially with such a beloved series as Blue Lock. Now, there is another thing that really infuriates me, is the fact that if they just gave this season 3 more episodes, they would have perfected the pacing, and also they would have given time for the animators to run their magic, and would have given us the perfect season. But no, greed blinded people as always. And honestly, it's just sad, man. It's painful and it hurts so much, because I feel this show would have changed the face of sports anime forever. But instead we got whatever this is. I don't even know what to call it at this point. It definitely isn't an anime because it has no animation in it. However, that's all I've got for you today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video despite the RIP for this season. And until next time, thank you for watching.